The Infiltrator's discovery. The perfect disguise. Agent Marcus Webb adjusted his synthetic breathing apparatus as he walked through the crystalline corridors of Nexus Prime, the galaxy's most secure diplomatic station. To any observer, he appeared to be Velthani, a minor trade representative from the Outer Rim territories. His biosuit perfectly mimicked the blue-scaled skin and elongated limbs of the peaceful merchant species, while neural implants allowed him to speak their clicking language fluently. Marcus had spent 3 years preparing for this moment. 3 years of surgical modifications, cultural immersion, and psychological conditioning to become the perfect alien. The Human Intelligence Division had sacrificed everything to place him here, in the heart of the Galactic Council's inner sanctum. The Council's secret meeting. The emergency session had been called without warning. Marcus followed the stream of delegates into the massive spherical chamber, its walls lined with viewing ports showing the swirling nebulae beyond. He took his assigned seat in the merchant section, noting how the military representatives clustered near the central platform while scientists and diplomats filled the outer rings. High Chancellor Drexmore, a towering insectoid with razor-sharp mandibles, called the assembly to order. His voice echoed through the chamber's translation matrix, reaching every species in their native tongue. Fellow beings of the galaxy, Drexmore began, his compound eyes scanning the crowd, we gather today to address the growing threat from Sector 7G. The humans. Marcus felt his heart skip, but kept his expression neutral. Around him, delegates leaned forward with interest. The damning evidence. General Korthax, Supreme Commander of the Galactic Defense Fleet, activated the central hologram. Earth appeared in stunning detail, its blue oceans and white clouds rotating slowly. Our surveillance indicates the humans have achieved primitive space flight, Korthax announced. They've established a small station around their moon and sent crude probes to nearby worlds. Intelligence projects they'll achieve faster-than-light travel within 50 standard years. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Marcus maintained his breathing rhythm, though his pulse quickened. This timeline is unacceptable, continued the general. Historical analysis shows that younger species who achieve FTL travel become exponentially more dangerous. The humans must be contained before they spread beyond their solar system. The horrifying plan. Dr. Zilmoth, the Council's chief xenobiologist, stepped forward. Her translucent form pulsed with bioluminescent patterns as she spoke. I've developed a targeted pathogen that will eliminate 99.7% of human life while leaving their planet's ecosystem intact. The agent spreads through their atmosphere and attacks their primitive immune systems. Death occurs within 72 hours of exposure. Marcus gripped his seat's armrests, fighting the urge to leap up and protest. The casual way she discussed genocide made his skin crawl beneath the biosuit. The beauty of this solution, Dr. Zilmoth continued, is that it appears natural. Solar radiation fluctuations will mask the pathogen's artificial nature. The surviving humans will assume it was a cosmic disaster. The vote for extinction. High Chancellor Drexmore raised his primary arms. The matter before us is simple. Do we act now to prevent future conflict, or do we wait until the humans become a genuine threat? Marcus watched in horror as representative after representative voiced their support. The peaceful Velthani delegation voted for extermination. The wise Etherian philosophers agreed humanity was too dangerous to survive. Even the usually cautious crystalline collective supported immediate action. The motion passes unanimously, Drexmore announced. General Korthax, you have authorization to deploy the pathogen within 10 standard rotations. The silent observer. As the session concluded and delegates began filing out, Marcus remained seated. His mind raced with the implications. Earth had perhaps 2 weeks before the pathogen would be released. The planet's entire population would be dead within days after that. He thought of his wife Rachel, his daughter Emma, his elderly parents who still lived in the house where he'd grown up. All of them, everyone he'd ever known, would be gone unless he could somehow warn Earth in time. But that would mean revealing his true nature, destroying years of careful infiltration. The aliens would discover that humanity had been watching them far longer than they'd believed possible. A young Zephyrian aide approached him. "Representative Velthani, you seem troubled. Are you well?" Marcus looked up, forcing his features into a mask of calm. "Just contemplating the implications for interstellar trade routes," he replied in perfect Velthani dialect. As the aide nodded and moved on, Marcus began planning his next move. Earth's survival depended on the message he would send tonight, and the revelation that humanity had been preparing for this moment far longer than their enemies could imagine. The galaxy thought humans were blind to the threat above them. They had no idea how wrong they were. The underground network. The hidden command center. 3 miles beneath the Antarctic ice, Colonel James Harrison stood before a wall of holographic displays showing star maps, alien fleet positions, and communication intercepts. The Prometheus facility had been humanity's best-kept secret for over 2 decades, a sprawling complex that officially didn't exist on any government record. The encrypted message from Agent Webb had arrived 12 hours ago, its contents sending shockwaves through the facility's command structure. Harrison read the transmission again, his weathered face grim with determination. Pathogen deployment confirmed. 10 days maximum. Council unanimous. Recommend immediate activation of all sleeper assets. The network awakens. Harrison activated the facility's quantum communication array, its crystalline core humming with energy borrowed from captured alien technology. Within minutes, secure channels opened across the galaxy. Phoenix 1 to all watchers, he spoke into the encrypted network. Code Red authorization. Operation Blind Eye is now active. The responses came flooding in from across known space. Agent Patricia Novak, embedded as a maintenance worker on the Rigel mining station, confirmed alien military buildup. Lieutenant Robert Chen, disguised as a Zephyrian merchant, reported unusual fleet movements near the Vega system. Captain Diana Foster, operating undercover in the Centauri Trade Hub, noted increased chatter about the human problem. Each report painted the same picture: the aliens were mobilizing for what they believed would be a simple extermination mission. The true scope. "Sir, we have confirmation from all 37 assets," reported Commander Lisa Park, Harrison's second-in-command. "They're all in position and ready for Phase 2. Harrison nodded grimly. The aliens had no idea that humanity had been infiltrating their society for over 50 years. While they believed humans were primitive planet-bound creatures, Earth's secret space program had been placing operatives throughout the galaxy. The irony wasn't lost on him. The aliens feared humanity's future expansion, never realizing humans had already spread far beyond their solar system. Every major alien facility, every military installation, every government building had at least one human operative within its walls. The deception deepens. Dr. Elizabeth Kane, the facility's chief of alien biology, approached Harrison's command station. Her team had spent decades studying captured alien technology, reverse engineering their advances while maintaining the illusion of human technological inferiority. "Colonel, our biowarfare division has analyzed the pathogen specifications from Webb's intercept," she reported. "The good news is we developed countermeasures for this exact strain 6 months ago. The bad news is they're planning to release it simultaneously across 12 major population centers." Harrison studied the projected release points on the global map. New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, and 7 other megacities would be hit simultaneously. Even with countermeasures, the logistics of protecting over 1 billion people would be staggering. The counterstrike preparation. "Initiate Protocol 7, Harrison ordered. All civilian agencies are to receive anonymous tips about a new strain of flu requiring immediate vaccination. We'll distribute the countermeasures under the guise of preventive healthcare." Around the command center, dozens of operators began implementing the complex deception. Fake medical reports were inserted into health databases, while sleeper agents in pharmaceutical companies began manufacturing the antidote on a massive scale. The moment of truth. As the facility buzzed with activity, Harrison opened a secure channel to Earth's orbital defense platforms. The massive weapons arrays, disguised as weather satellites and space junk, powered up for the first time in decades. "Admiral Stone," he said, connecting to the Luna base commander, "the galaxy is about to learn what humanity is really capable of. Are your fleets ready?" Victoria Stone's voice crackled through the quantum link from her position on humanity's secret lunar military base. "Every ship is equipped with the new stealth drives and particle weapons. The enemy won't know what hit them." The final preparations. Harrison looked around at his team, men and women who had dedicated their lives to protecting Earth from threats the public never knew existed. They'd spent decades building this moment, creating a network of human operatives that spanned the galaxy. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced to the facility, "in approximately 8 days, the Galactic Council will attempt to exterminate the human race. They believe we're helpless primitives who pose no threat to their established order." He paused, watching as every face in the command center turned toward him. "They're about to discover that humanity has been watching them for over 50 years. We've infiltrated their governments, their military, their scientific institutions. We've stolen their technology, learned their weaknesses, and prepared for this exact scenario." The colonel's voice carried across the facility's communication system, reaching every department and every operative. "Tomorrow, we stop hiding. Tomorrow, we show the galaxy what happens when you threaten the human race. Tomorrow, the hunters become the hunted." As alarms began sounding throughout the facility, Harrison smiled grimly. The aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive species. They had no idea that the real war was about to begin. The alien perspective. The strategist's doubt. Commander Kethvar stood in the war room of the Zephyrian dreadnought Eternal Dominion, studying the tactical displays with growing unease. As the fleet's chief military strategist, he'd planned countless campaigns across the galaxy, but something about this mission felt wrong. The holographic projection of Earth rotated slowly before him, its continental masses marked with red targeting indicators. According to intelligence reports, the pathogen deployment would begin in exactly 6 days, followed by a cleanup operation to eliminate any surviving resistance. "The target analysis seems incomplete," Kethvar muttered, his 4 arms manipulating different data streams simultaneously. His species had evolved for complex tactical thinking, yet the more he studied the humans, the more questions arose. Inconsistencies in intelligence. General Vorthak, the operations commanding officer, approached with his usual arrogant swagger. "Still obsessing over those primitive mammals, Commander? The intelligence is clear, they barely managed to reach their own moon." Kethvar's crystalline eyes focused on his superior. "Sir, I've reviewed the surveillance data from the past 50 years. There are significant gaps in our observation records. Entire months where our monitoring stations reported equipment malfunctions or atmospheric interference." The general's mandibles clicked with irritation. "Mechanical failures happen, Kethvar. Don't overthink a simple extermination mission." But Kethvar couldn't shake his concerns. His tactical training had taught him to question everything, and the human intelligence file contained too many convenient coincidences. The disturbing pattern. Late that night, Kethvar accessed the classified archives in his private quarters. Using his command codes, he pulled surveillance records from across the galaxy, looking for patterns the main intelligence division might have missed. What he found made his blood run cold. Over the past 5 decades, minor accidents had befallen alien monitoring stations throughout human space. Equipment failures, personnel reassignments, and communication blackouts had created systematic blind spots in their surveillance network. Even more disturbing were the personnel files. Dozens of alien operatives assigned to monitor Earth had been replaced over the years due to nervous breakdowns, species dysphoria, or cultural contamination. The official explanation was that prolonged exposure to human media had caused psychological instability. But Kethvar noticed something else. many of these, compromised, operatives had been assigned to critical infrastructure positions after their return from Earth duty. The revelation. Kethvar's investigation led him to review footage from the recent council session. Using advanced analysis software, he studied the voting patterns and behavioral indicators of each delegate. His heart stopped when he noticed Representative Velthani of the Merchant Consortium. The being's micro-expressions were wrong, too controlled, too carefully managed. Even more suspicious was the way Velthani's biorhythms had spiked during the genocide discussion, indicating severe stress despite the species' known emotional stability. Computer, run a deep analysis on Representative Velthani's biological signatures, Kethvar commanded. The results were disturbing. Velthani's cellular structure showed signs of genetic modification, and thermal imaging revealed internal technology that didn't match known Velthani biology. The terrible truth. As Kethvar compiled his findings, a horrifying picture emerged. The humans hadn't been sitting helplessly on their planet for 50 years. They'd been actively infiltrating alien society, placing operatives in positions of power and influence. The primitive species had been watching the Watchers, learning everything about alien technology, military capabilities, and strategic planning. Every major decision the Galactic Council had made regarding human containment had potentially been known to Earth in advance. By the void, Kethvar whispered, his forearms trembling as he processed the implications. They've been preparing for this. The warning. Kethvar immediately tried to contact General Vorthak, but the communication systems were experiencing routine maintenance. He attempted to reach the Council directly, but his security clearance was temporarily suspended pending administrative review. Every channel he tried was blocked, every authority figure suddenly unavailable. It was as if the entire command structure had been compromised. In desperation, he accessed the fleet's tactical network, hoping to warn his fellow commanders. But what he found there made him realize the terrible scope of the human infiltration. Fleet positions were being subtly adjusted, supply lines were being optimized through suspicious route changes, and weapons maintenance schedules had been modified to leave critical systems vulnerable during the attack window. The setup. Kethvar suddenly understood the truth. The humans hadn't just been watching the Galactic Council, they'd been manipulating it. The genocide plan wasn't the aliens' idea at all, it was a trap designed to draw the galaxy's military forces into a carefully orchestrated ambush. He thought about all the accidents and coincidences that had shaped the mission planning. The convenient intelligence reports that made Earth seem helpless. The technological assessments that underestimated human capabilities. The strategic recommendations that positioned the alien fleets in vulnerable formations. The humans had been playing a game of chess while the aliens thought they were swatting flies. The final realization. As Kethvar sat in his darkened quarters, surrounded by the evidence of humanity's vast deception, he began to laugh. It was the bitter laughter of a strategist who'd been thoroughly outmaneuvered. The Galactic Council had spent decades debating whether humanity posed a future threat. They'd never considered that the threat already existed, already surrounded them, already knew their every move. In 6 days, the mightiest military force in the galaxy would attack what they believed was a defenseless planet. Instead, they would be walking into the most elaborate trap in galactic history. Kethvar made one final attempt to warn his people, but his communication array had been requisitioned for priority fleet operations. He was trapped aboard a ship full of alien officers who had no idea they were sailing toward their own destruction. The humans had been watching them for 50 years. Soon, the galaxy would learn what they'd been watching for. The revelation. The moment of discovery. Dr. Benjamin Cross stood before the massive quantum detection array in Earth's most classified facility, the Olympus Deep Space Monitoring Station. Hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid in the belt, the installation had been tracking alien communications for over 30 years. The intercepted transmission that had just arrived changed everything. Director Cross, called his lead technician, Lieutenant Maria Santos, were receiving an encrypted Zephyrian military broadcast. It's about us," sir." Cross approached the main console, his weathered hands trembling slightly as he activated the universal translator. The message was fragmented, clearly sent in desperation from someone with limited access to communication systems. "Warning, humans have infiltrated. Council compromised, fleet walking into trap, they know everything." The transmission cut off abruptly, but Cross had heard enough. One of the alien commanders had figured out the truth. The cascading revelation. Within hours of the intercepted warning, the alien communication networks exploded with panicked chatter. Cross watched as the realization spread through their military hierarchy like wildfire. "Sir, we're detecting emergency frequencies across 12 star systems," reported Santos. "They're conducting security sweeps of all personnel." The main display showed a galaxy-wide map with thousands of red indicators, each representing a compromised alien installation. Cross smiled grimly as he realized what was happening. The aliens were finally understanding the scope of human infiltration. Admiral Krexthal's voice crackled through the intercepted channels: "Immediate genetic verification of all council members. Any being showing signs of biological modification is to be detained for interrogation." The unraveling. Cross activated the facility's quantum link to Colonel Harrison's Antarctic base. "Jim, they know. The cat's out of the bag." Harrison's voice came through clearly: "How bad is it, Ben?" "They're conducting galaxy-wide security sweeps. Our people are being exposed faster than we can extract them." Cross paused, studying the incoming data streams. "But there's something else. They're panicking. Really panicking." On the displays, alien fleets were breaking formation, changing course, and requesting new orders. The carefully orchestrated genocide mission was falling apart as commanders realized they'd been manipulated for decades. The Great Deception revealed. Dr. Cross pulled up the historical files, showing the true scope of Operation Blind Eye. For 50 years, humanity had been systematically infiltrating alien society, not just gathering intelligence but actively shaping their decisions. Every major alien policy regarding human containment had been influenced by human operatives. The decision to postpone first contact had been suggested by a human-controlled advisor. The military assessments that deemed humanity primitive had been written by human agents. Even the recent genocide proposal had been subtly encouraged by human infiltrators. "They think they've been planning our extinction," Cross explained to his team. "But we've been planning their revelation. Every move they made, we anticipated. Every strategy they developed, we influenced." The alien panic. The monitoring station's arrays picked up frantic communications from across the galaxy. High Chancellor Drexmore's voice echoed through the emergency frequencies: "How long have they been among us? How much do they know?" General Vortak's response was equally panicked: "All strategic plans must be considered compromised. The humans may have known about our intentions for decades." Cross listened as alien commanders began to piece together the horrifying truth. The humans they dismissed as primitive had been walking among them for generations, learning their secrets, stealing their technology, and preparing for this exact moment. The technology revelation. The aliens' greatest shock came when they realized the extent of human technological advancement. Dr. Cross watched as their scientists analyzed the biosuits and neural implants left behind by extracted operatives. "Impossible," whispered Dr. Zilmoth over the intercepted channels. "This biotechnology is more advanced than our own. The humans have been playing with handicapped technology for decades." The revelation that humanity possessed superior technology while maintaining the appearance of primitiveness sent shockwaves through the alien scientific community. They began to question everything they thought they knew about human capabilities. The strategic nightmare. Cross observed as alien military commanders attempted to reassess their strategic position. The genocide mission had been based on the assumption that humanity was a helpless target. Now they realized they were potentially walking into a trap set by an enemy that had been studying them for half a century. All fleet movements are compromised, reported Admiral Krexthul. The humans know our ship positions, our weapons capabilities, our tactical doctrines. They've been preparing for this battle longer than we've been planning it. The alien fleets began to disperse, their commanders unwilling to proceed with an operation that had been so thoroughly compromised. The psychological warfare. But Cross knew the real weapon wasn't humanity's technology or military preparation. It was the psychological impact of the revelation itself. The aliens had built their entire galactic civilization on the assumption of their own superiority. Discovering that a primitive species had been manipulating them for decades shattered their fundamental worldview. Director Santos called out, "We're receiving reports that several alien governments are requesting immediate diplomatic contact with Earth. They want to negotiate." Cross nodded, unsurprised. The aliens had gone from planning genocide to fearing for their own survival in a matter of hours. The revelation that humanity had been watching them, learning from them, and preparing for this moment had turned the entire galactic power structure upside down. The final transmission. A new message came through the quantum array, this time from Agent Marcus Webb, still aboard the Nexus Prime station. His voice was calm despite the chaos around him. "Control, this is Phoenix 1. The aliens have discovered our network, but it's too late for them to stop what's coming. They're terrified. They finally understand what they're dealing with." Cross smiled as he recorded his response. "Copy that, Phoenix 1. Phase 3 is authorized. It's time to show them what humanity is really capable of." The galaxy was about to learn that the species they'd underestimated for so long had been the one in control all along.